We bought a 3-family building in the city of Boston for $450,000. Sight unseen. What that means is that we never stepped foot inside and bought it without even knowing who lived inside and what the property condition was. So in this video, we're going to cover how we found the deal, how we negotiated with the sellers, and what the plan is right now that we are in and ready to do the renovations. It gets really interesting because the 2 relatives that sold us the property, they were estranged. They weren't talking to each other. So if you guys are interested in this, let's dive right in. Alright guys, so I'm bringing you to Roxbury today. We are at 31 Cunningham Street. We closed on this property about 3 weeks ago, and I wanted to show you guys everything from day one. We just started cleaning. We are waiting for our building permit, so we can't really do a lot more than this. But we took a lot of the debris out and waiting patiently for the building permit. So how we found the property. This was a direct mail lead. And for you guys following me, know that I'm a big proponent of direct-to-seller marketing. Direct mail is one of the strategies we use to reach out to homeowners even before they list the property on the market. And it starts with us in the office pulling a list. For that, we use a couple of different websites like PropStream and ListSource. But we pull a list of homeowners that have owned the house for a long time. And typically, some of the lists that we use are also homeowners that live out of state, right? So they're absentee homeowners. So this particular lead, this particular property was owned from someone out of state. So he got a letter from us. The property is in Boston. He lives in Maine. He doesn't really manage it. And he had family members living here. But he showed interest. And the first time he got our letter was 2 years ago. So it takes time to nurture that relationship with people. We are closing, 2+ years later, and that is fine. We're okay with that. So the first phone call from this homeowner was in 2020, 2 years ago, and pretty much they said, I'm interested in selling, I'm thinking about it. They wanted to understand our process. So typically that first phone call is for them to understand who we are. First of all, they want to find out if we are legitimate. Are these guys, for real? And he said, good, this sounds all right, but I'm not ready yet. Okay, again, in the past, I would have probably thrown away this lead because he wasn't ready. He showed very little motivation. Typically, people that show motivation, they want to close soon. Those are high priority leads, and I get that, but there is people that are not ready yet, and you can't throw those leads away, right? So that's what we did. We followed up with him consistently for the next 2 years. I think we talked to him 6 or 7 times until one day in 2021, he said, I'm ready. I want to sell, but there is another family member. And he went into telling us a little bit about the family dynamic, where he had a sister that he was estranged to, meaning they didn't talk to each other at all, and they couldn't really come up to an agreement to sell the property. So he was a little worried about that, and he was like, I don't know how you guys going to get it done because I don't talk to my sister and she owns half of the property. Guys, the only reason why actually I'm standing here today and we own this property is because we put a process in place to capture leads in a consistent way and make sure nothing falls through the cracks. And that you can do the same thing as we do. Implement this little step in your process if you are a beginner or if you are doing deals. And I'm talking about having a CRM, right? Having either an Excel spreadsheet or having a software that you can buy. There is a ton out there. The one we use is called Follow Up Boss. You guys can go check it out. It's very inexpensive, but it's a way for you to put your leads in there and make sure that you follow up with people when you tell them you're going to follow up. We talk to a lot of people on a weekly basis, and everybody has different interests. And some will say, call me on Friday at 2 o'clock to schedule an appointment, or someone might say, call me in 6 months. Those leads are equally important to us, and everything gets captured in the CRM, so nothing falls through the cracks. So guys, once we close on a property, something like this one, we do have different exit strategies. So we think about wholetailing, we think about wholesaling, we think about fix and flips, and also we think about rentals. Since we closed on it, it cannot be a wholesale, but we could just clean up everything that's here and put it back on the market as is for the next developer to do the work, right? And we can do that because we bought it at a discount. Now, we didn't want to do that. It's such a nice property as far as where it's located and what the finished product can be, that we said no, we want to do the work ourselves. So the other 2 options actually were to do condos, since we are in Roxbury And a lot of buildings in Roxbury, all the triple deckers are turning into condos. And they are selling for 500, 600,000. So we have 3 units here, and it could have been a great condo project. But we said, nah, let's keep that too, because we like Roxbury as a rental market. We have other buildings in Roxbury, and they are doing really well. And we also are betting in Roxbury on the appreciation, on prices going up down the road. And we want to keep this building, especially since we're going to put so much work into it, into our rental portfolio. So that's our goal. But let me show you guys the before, because I'm going to bring you back to show you the after once we're done. So it's huge. This building, I mean, this unit itself, and they're all identical, are about 1,200, 1,300 square feet. So we're going to have 4 bedrooms here. But let's go towards the back. It's definitely not pretty in here, but this is literally the first couple of weeks, and there was so much junk that we are actually going through that process now to clean everything out as we wait for the city of Boston to issue the permit. And then we're gonna gut everything out. So we gotta get this building down to the studs, because unfortunately we can't save anything. It's just, everything is old, everything is outdated. Electrical, plumbing, you know, the heating system. So none of that is gonna work for us. So since we're gutting the place, we sat down with our architect and we came up with a plan to maximize the number of bedrooms, because the more bedrooms, the higher rent amount we're going to collect. So that's the goal for us. We looked at it as a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and then we have room here to make it a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. And we know as a 4-bedroom is going to bring in larger families, but it's also going to bring in more money each month. I think in Roxbury they're going for about $3,500. So it would be a great investment for us. So these are all going to be bedrooms, and this here will be a kitchen with an island and a living space on the back. So the good thing is that we're going to remove the second set of stairs since we're putting sprinkler systems, and that's going to open up that whole area where it can be kitchen and living together, and then all the 4 bedrooms. So let's now talk about negotiations, because we had 2 people that don't talk. They own the property 50-50, but they don't communicate with each other, and they can't make a decision on the price. So for us to just throw a price at them, and I think initially we wanted to offer $500 or $550 for the property, it didn't really matter, because they need to talk to each other and decide on that price, and they were not doing that. So we had to listen, we had to ask questions and figure out who are these sellers? What do they care about? What's important to them? And how can we make this happen? How can we go in, get them together, and agree on a price? So we negotiated with them separately. We negotiated with one person on their 50% ownership, and then we talked to the other person and negotiated on their 50% ownership. So technically we had 2 contracts, and it's like having 2 separate transactions. And one lesson learned here that I didn't know, even with 7-8 years in the business now, is that I thought you negotiate the same amount if it's 50-50 ownership on a property. Meaning if you're offering somebody $500,000 and they own the house 50% and 50%, then you got to give each of them $250,000 equally. That's just what I thought. I talked to my attorney and she said, absolutely not. You can negotiate that 50% at a different price to the other. They don't have to match. And we're like, great. So basically we spoke to them, and one was a very strong negotiator. This was the gentleman in Maine, and he wanted $350,000. The other one was a very poor negotiator, and she didn't care too much, so we gave her $100,000. So for 50% she got $100,000, for 50% he got $350,000. To us, what's important is what we paid in total, so that was $450,000 that we paid for the property. The other thing that was important though is the people that lived here, that they were family members. So this used to be a family home. The father of the person that sold the house to us, he lived on unit 2, his brother lived on unit 1, and his sister lived on unit 3. So now who's selling the property to us is the niece and nephew. They knew that the uncle and aunt live in the building, but they don't own the building, right? So they told us to pretty much deal with them. They, you know, again, was a family dynamic. They didn't want to deal with them. They didn't want to tell them that they were selling the building. They just wanted to cash out and move on. So basically, after we listened to that story and the fact that they wanted us to buy with tenants in place, and they had no keys to the building, they couldn't show us the inside, we had to be aggressive on price. So initially we wanted to be at $500 and $550, and we said, you know what, now that we have to inherit tenants, meaning we have to talk to them about leaving the property because we knew this property needs a ton of work, that's more risk to us, right? We don't know if this person is going to fight us. We don't know if this person is ever going to leave because they have been living there for a long time. We knew that. So it was a very risky proposition, and the fact that we didn't know what the condition of the property was. So in that case, we're taking a big risk. But if we're taking a risk, we want the reward to be high. So we said we're going to go with a lower price. So the first price I think we proposed was $400. We went back and forth. And again, between the two owners, we ended up paying $450,000. And we bought this building sight unseen, tenants and everything, and a lot of junk in it in the city of Boston. So one actionable step from the negotiations is to listen and solve a problem for the homeowner. Don't go into a seller appointment or talking to a seller thinking what's in it for you, what your price is and how good of a deal you can get. Go to solve a problem, listen to their story, connect with them, and if you solve their problem, you're gonna get a great deal. So we still have a ton of work to do, guys. I mean, look, there's still a lot of junk. The dumpster outside is full, so we have to deal with getting the dumpster out of here. And that's another challenge in the city of Boston. You need street permits. This property doesn't have any parking or driveway, so it's all in the street. It's tough. So we're gonna have times like this where we're sitting on it without doing much because we can't remove the dumpster yet. But a lot of stuff still here, and that's next for us. We just gotta clean everything out. Let's go upstairs to the third floor. I'll show you guys what that looks like. One thing I like about it though is that we got a ton of natural light because there's a lot of windows. So our guys did take out a lot of the baseboards and doors, so they're getting ready to demo the walls. But look at this place. So that's where we're at right now. This is the top floor. I like it up here. These are going to be awesome units. I can see what this finished product is going to be. I mean, a lot of people come in and it's like, oh, this is nasty, it's bad, but I can see the finished product, and I'm super excited to get this going. So in this episode, we went over how we found the property, how we negotiated, and what the plan is with the renovations. If you guys want to know more about our day-to-day and the renovations here, follow us on social media at Whiteacre Properties on Instagram and Facebook. We constantly post about our progress here in Roxbury or at the other projects. The other thing I wanted to mention is and invite you guys to our Boston Real Estate Connection meetup. We get together once a month. Next one is March 22nd. I'm gonna put the link below. Sign up, it's a free event and it's all about networking with other investors, contractors, attorneys. I think it's a great event for you guys to come and meet other people, meet me personally, and talk real estate. Last thing I'm gonna leave you with, if you wanna know more about other upcoming projects we got, things that's going on at the office and things that we're buying and selling, sign up for our newsletter. We have a newsletter that goes out once a month. So if you're interested, sign up and you'll know everything we are doing. All right, I think this is a wrap. Hope you guys enjoying this. Again, like, share, subscribe. Catch you on the next one.